is my course will start on 7 September, and due to this COVID thing and the ban from India to Canada, I won't be able to come on time. So I'll be late. I'll come by mid of September. And because my course is online, I think I can come late.
Yes,
But
yeah.
yeah, so there is one thing I was confused about, that if I miss one or two classes, how will I get the material for those missing classes, and from where will I get it?
For sure. So that's a really good question. And I think a lot of students are kind of in a similar situation. So if you are in an online program, you are absolutely right. You can arrive at any point during the fall term. Fanshawe, yeah, Fanshawe has an online student information system where we have all your courses. It's called Fanshawe Online. So Fanshawe Online is kind of like the homepage for all of your courses. So while you're studying online, you would just collect all your course information from that Fanshawe Online page. So you are welcome to, of course, contact your instructors and let them know that you're traveling during a certain period of time, whatever your travel days might be.
Yeah.
Let them know, and then what you can do is, just let them know, and that way you guys will be able to. They'll know you won't be able to participate in your classes during your travel days. And hopefully they'll be able to support you with any work you might have missed.
All right, great. Thank you.
Okay, of course. Okay, so we'll go with Daria. And if I'm saying your names incorrectly, please correct me. I want to make sure I'm saying your names correctly.
Hi, guys. So I got fully vaccinated, and it seems that everything's going to be okay. But just in case, if, for example, my test is positive, because I know that even if you're fully vaccinated, you still can get it and you can transfer it. Yeah,
right.
So what happens then if I can't come again on time?
Okay, so are you concerned about testing positive before your flight?
Yes, like if that 7 to 72 hours prior to the flight, if my test is positive.
Yeah. So if that were to happen, and we definitely hope it doesn't, what you would want to do is contact your agent right away. So you could potentially have I'm assuming that your program is in a blended format?
Online, it's postgrad.
Online. Okay, so in the event that you were to test positive, and again, fingers crossed, that's not going to happen. But if that were to happen, then what you would do is you'd be able to go home and you'd be able to continue your studies online. And then once you were able to travel, you could come to Canada at any point in the fall term. So basically, in your case, if that were to happen, continue your studies online, and then you can come at any point in the fall. Now, for students who are in blended programs, if you were to receive a negative or a positive COVID test and you weren't able to travel, then in that case, you need to reach out to your agent to consider whether or not you would be able to defer your enrollment to another term. Okay, but in your case, online students, you're perfectly fine to study from your home country.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Okay.
It was by mistake.
Oh, can I travel before my classes? I'm just going through and looking at some of these questions in our chat here. Okay, and we may also have one of our representatives from the health and safety area join us in a little bit. I'm not sure if they'll be coming in shortly, but hopefully they will be. Gode has a question, so you can go ahead and unmute there.
Hi guys. Okay, cool. I just was wondering about the blended one, because I have a blended course, AVA2. I'm still waiting for my visa actually, so I was wondering what's gonna happen. Like, what are the options for me if I can't get the answer on time? Like maybe because I think from the mail that we received, you can. I think the last date is September 3rd, if I'm right. So I wonder what is going to be the situation if I don't get the answer from the visa on
The
time.
study visa. Yeah. So again, the best point of contact if you're worried about your actual arrival, your eligibility to arrive in Canada, the best person you can reach out to is your agent. So they can help you either they can tell you yes or no to whether or not your visa is likely to be in on time. And they can also provide you with options for deferring if that is something you might have to do. So students in blended programs are required to arrive in Canada by August 22nd if they're not vaccinated, or by September 3rd if they are fully vaccinated. The reason why blended students must be in the country by those dates is because they need sufficient time to quarantine, and they must be able to be in person in their labs in the first week of class. The reason for that is because you'll receive important information, safety instructions, and just like general use information on the equipment that you'll use for your program. So if you're blended and you don't think you'll be able to arrive by the date you're supposed to, definitely reach out to your agent.
Okay. So the thing with me is that I don't actually have any agent. So I don't know if there is someone that I can. Yes, because I actually just applied online. I don't know if you mean by agent the one that I was talking with, and what do you call that platform? That platform that we use for the application, where you put all your documents and stuff on that platform. I don't have a specific agent. I don't know if there is.
Okay. So otherwise, you can always contact one of our international student life coordinators. I'm just going to put their contact information here.
Okay.
All right, just be 1 second. Okay. Actually, maybe this would be something I can show you guys all just so you know where to get the information. I'm just going to share my screen now with you. Okay, so you guys can see this okay? Yeah. Okay, so you're going to go down to the international tab, and this is all the contact information. So for our, you can book an appointment to meet with a student life coordinator just by clicking this link here. Okay. And then you'd be able to select what type of appointment you need to book. And there's also the option to select who you'd like to make an appointment with. So we have our advisors here. So you can select, you don't have to though. And I'll just throw this in the chat here so everyone has this information. Okay. So I'm actually happy to tell you all that we do have one of our environmental health and safety representatives here. So if you guys would just give us 1 minute here, and we will get started with that portion of our day today. I know it's been a little bit of a funky day, but you guys are all great. So thanks for sticking with us. So it'll just be 1 quick minute, okay?
Cool. Well, I think that's it for me. Yeah? I think I'll just have to do as you say, and then.
Yeah, for sure. So just contact the student life coordinator, and they'll be able to help you. So I did put that link in the chat, and you're welcome to contact them, and they can give you a hand. Okay.
Thanks. Cool.
Of course. Yeah, no problem. Okay. So joining us today is Andrew King, and he is from the our environmental health and safety department. So what he's going to do for us today is just provide a general overview about what you can do to keep yourself safe on campus. And he'll just provide a little bit of an overview as well about some of the COVID-19 protocols on campus. Okay, and then we can open it up for questions. Certainly, we want all students to feel healthy and safe when they're on campus, so he can share some information with all of you. So with that, I will turn it over to Andrew.
Good morning. Just checking. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, perfect. So sorry about any kind of miscommunication this morning. We have a few people in the department, and with vacations, there may have been a little bit of overlook. So I don't have a PowerPoint presentation to be able to share with you, but I can definitely talk about some of the aspects of Fanshawe and what we have done for COVID. So the first obvious thing, for anybody that's coming on campus, there are a few requirements. So one of the very first requirements is that anybody prior to arriving on campus needs to do a active screening. So basically what that is it's just going through a process of asking questions and verifying that you are suitable to be on campus. No symptoms, no exposures, basically attesting to the fact that you're okay. Now, our online active screening is done online. I'm not too sure if you've already talked about the Stay Safe app at all. Okay. So there is a few different ways that the screening can be done at the campus. If you're arriving on the campus, there are posters on most entry doors. There is a QR code that you could use your phone to scan the QR code, which will automatically pop up with the screening tool to be able to use. Or there is the Fanshawe Stay Safe app, which we have. It's available in the Google App Store as well as the Apple App Store. And it's called Fanshawe Stay Safe app. So I'm just copying the link here that I'll share for everybody. This is just on the Fanshawe website, just so that you know what the app looks like, and this can direct you to it. So this app, and just to deviate a little bit, although one of the things that it has in there right now for COVID is the ability to report any kind of COVID exposures or incidents, it also allows you to do some screening. It also has a number of different safety aspects in that tool where you can coordinate like a friend walk so that you're not walking alone. It's got some lost and found links in there. Talks about the mobile blue lights that we have in our parking lots. Gives you some contact information for security and a few other things. So if you look at that link, it'll give you a little bit of an overview of what the Stay Safe app is, but it's meant to be a very concise way of being able to provide you with information related to health and safety at the college. We'll also use it as a emergency management communication tool. So if there's anything going on at the college, we will use that to make a wide communication through that app. So I've diverted a little bit. COVID was the original discussion. And so one of the aspects in that tool is the ability to be able to do the screening, which allows you to come on site. Now, as you go through the screening tool, the tool will tell you itself whether you're okay to be on site based on the questions that you answer and based on your responses. It'll either come back with a you're okay to be on site or you're not okay to be on site. Typically, when you do that online screening, you do have to put in a email address, and it will return a confirmation of completion to your email. And it's important that you keep that confirmation because security has the ability to stop people in the school and basically say, can you provide me proof that you've done your screening? So it's important that you keep that confirmation so that you can show them that you're okay to be on site and that you're basically safe. So that's one of the first things you'll see is before you come into the college, you have to do your screening. When you are on college, you will have to wear a face mask. So face masks are required everywhere in the college, unless you are in a designated spot where you're going to eat or consume beverages, in which case you're okay to remove your mask for that purpose, but you still need to be 2 meters away from anybody else that's not wearing a mask. So that's really the only caveat where you're able to remove your mask. Otherwise, new regulations basically are saying that no matter where you are in the college, you are expected to stay masked. We do have higher cleaning protocols. So we are cleaning quite a bit. And we do also have a lot more hand sanitizer around the facility. There's many locations where that is available. So we obviously also encourage hand washing. If you do have any kind of exposure, or if you've been told or contacted by the health unit or by a peer or anybody else that you've had an exposure to somebody that has had COVID, there is a COVID exposure report form that we have. And it's not to identify people or to exclude you from activities. It's more or less just a contact tracing tool so that we know that if you were exposed to somebody, then we can contact you to be able to find out who you were exposed to, if you were on school, if you were in a class of 5 others or what have you. So it's important that we go through that tool just to learn about what your conditions were on school and your possible exposure as well. So it's not meant as a punishment tool or anything like that. It's to learn and to be able to ensure that there's nobody else that's been placed at risk that we may need to say, you can't come to school until you're, 2 weeks done your quarantine or what have you. So there's a few things around there. So like I said, we got the screening, we got the cleaning, we've got the hand washing opportunities. Our staffing, or I shouldn't say our staffing, our occupancy on site is quite a bit smaller. So the school is quite quiet. So we're definitely not at the same capacities as we used to be. So it's a lot easier to maintain physical distancing. It's a lot easier to go through the college without actually seeing people. It's pretty quiet right now. But from a COVID perspective, things are calming down. But we have the ability to still implement a lot of COVID safety precautions. One of the things that will be expected of you at 1.2 will be to conduct or to take online COVID training. And typically that's only expected if you are going to be entering the college. If you're going to be doing a online learning and you're not entering the college, it's not necessarily an expectation, but as soon as you step into the college, there is an expectation that you do this training. Now, unfortunately, our training for the fall has been delayed a little bit because the province has not given us the direction we need for some of the COVID requirements that we have to apply. So we're trying to hold off on that so that our training will be as accurate as possible. But when it does come out, there is a need to be able to do that. And that's also another thing that the security could ask is, have you completed your COVID training? So when that's available, that will usually be communicated either through, the international office or through your course as a requirement to be able to do that. I'm just looking at some of the things that was told that I should talk to you about. The app. I told you about the masking requirements. One thing I will bring to your attention is for the masks, the type of masks that you may wear, it's any kind of face covering. So it could be as simple as a bandana, a scarf, it could be an N95 respirator, it could be a surgical mask or a non-surgical mask. The only thing that we just want to convey to you is that it shouldn't be some of those newer style ones where there's actually a valve in it that allows you to exhale and that hot air expels or goes through the respirator or through the face mask. Valves aren't necessarily a positive thing because it's unfiltered air. So because of that, it's a potential for COVID progression. So not sure. Anything else you think that I should touch base
on? Andrew, I was thinking, would you be willing to share your screen and basically just give the students a bit of a tour of where they can find health and safety information on the website? I'll just make you the host here. Oh, Sorry about that.
And while you're trying to do that, I will tell you too that a lot of the for everybody here, we will abide by whatever the London Public Health or depending on what campus you're on, whatever applicable public health unit is going by. So if you're asking questions about travel or questions about community exposures, things like that, we typically will say whatever the public health is recommending you do is what we follow. So if you are looking for any kind of direction or inquiry, if you call the public health, They can probably usually give you the best information because not only are they the experts in it, but they may, if it's related to an exposure, they would have information about the potential other person. So where we have limitations in terms of privacy information. So just so that you're aware, that is one place that is ideal for you. So
the other nice thing as well is students who aren't fully vaccinated can contact the London Middlesex Health Unit to receive their vaccines. So definitely an important to get in touch with them if you're not vaccinated.
And we will likely have vaccination clinics on campus as well, if again that applies to some of the students here. So there will probably be some opportunities on campus to be able to get your vaccine there as well, probably both first and second. So, so can you see my screen? Is my screen coming through there?
Yep, you're all good.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is just a link that I had shared with you. This is the Stay Safe app. So again, I'll get off of this, but you can see all the details here under your description of the app. It is a good app. It's very simple to use. It's not necessarily something you would need to access on a daily basis unless you're coming on site daily, but it does give you some great information. So just let me go through here. I'm going to, so I'll go to the site so that you can sort of see where I'm moving from. So this is our main internal page. If you go into our environmental health and safety website, this is one location where you're going to be able to find a lot of information. So in here we have our COVID safety information, we have our COVID screening assessment, and our COVID report form. And a lot of this information should just be on the bare web page as well, without having to be inside the internal structure of Fanshawe. It's also where we have all the other regular health and safety stuff around reporting injuries and near misses and some of our occupational health and safety programs. So just to give you an idea, when you're looking at the screening tool, when you get onto the screening tool, you'll have the employee and the student one versus the contractor and visitor one. It's important you pick the right one because there are different questions depending on which one you select. So when you do go into the employee and student one, one thing you'll need to do is sign in right away with your Fanshawe credentials. And that's because it'll basically stamp when you did it and who did it. And then as you go through here, when you do your screening tool, there's a link here that you have to click on first, and it will bring you to the self-assessment tool. So we refer to a tool that's outside of Fanshawe because it's something that as they change it, it's always going to stay current. So when you complete the self-assessment tool, it will come back with a whether you're okay to be on site or not. And then you have to come back to the website and say, yes, I did complete that screening and I'm okay to be on site. And then when you begin the form, there's really only 3 more questions that they're going to ask. They're going to ask you your cell phone number or a number to be contacted. And then there'll be 3 more questions about, have you completed the assessment? Yes. When completing the self-assessment, did you indicate that you have any high-risk groups? So this is just basically an additional precaution. So there are certain high-risk groups that are out there that are vulnerable to COVID. And so we ask whether you are one of those, because if you are a high-risk group, we have the ability to create a safe plan for you while you're on site so that we can try and work with you and protect you. So that's why if you are identified as a yes, and then it comes down here and it says, okay, well, if you are, then we can work with you. So basically what I said about that. And then it asks whether you've had a safe plan created or not, and then asks if you're safe to be on site. So if you do have any problems when you're doing the screening and it's coming back as you saying that you are not allowed to be on site, I would really be looking at these 3 questions as the reason for why it's saying that. So that's just a quick overview of the screening tool. It is it's a good tool. It's a very quick tool. You can do it in a matter of a minute or 2. And that gives you permission to be on site. You don't have to do it if you leave the campus and then come back. You don't have to do it twice. It's once a day, and that will cover you for that time span. So if I go back, the report form, a little bit different, but you still have your variations, the employee versus and the student versus the contractor and the visitor. And again, we use this as reporting either possible or confirmed exposures. And it's just a tool that allows us to reach out to you to be able to ask more questions. It's a very simple tool, just goes through the process of asking and filling in the blanks for information about who you are, what if you're a student or a staff, what campus you're on, what course you're in, and what's the circumstances of your exposure or possible exposure. So once this basically is filled out and submitted, it comes to our department and you will receive a call from myself, just basically inquiring about some of the information so that we can get a little bit more understanding of the circumstance. Okay, so again, another simple form that we use for COVID. And then on here, there's just a lot of other information where we found that we can provide information that allows answers to be either sought or looked after. We have a lot of information here. One of the other things we do is every department has to submit a COVID operational plan. So we know every department, what they're doing, how they're protecting their staff and students, and what precautions they have in place. So when you do come on site, rest assured that it's not just by hope and chance that we think things will be okay. It's because we've been very analytical. We've been evaluating departments. We've been talking to managers. We've talked about what they need to have in play. We've been working with the public health unit. We've been working with, basically anybody that's available that provides guidance to us around COVID to ensure that you are safe while you are on site. So we have tons of information available, tons of resources, tons of signage throughout the facility that you will see. And you will also see a lot of signs on doors that will indicate to you what kind of occupancies a room has. So if you're a classroom, you may have a class of 10, but the sign may say you're safely allowed to have 20. There'll be a layout in each room that says how the desks should be arranged in order to maintain that 2-meter distancing between everybody. One of the other things you'll see in service corridors, like if it's a bathroom or the clothing store or the bookstore, they will have cue stickers on the floor to try and keep you 2 meters apart from the person in front of you. So we do have a lot of signage around. It is overload right now, but it's all there for a purpose. And if you just sort of adhere to that and take a look at that, then you'll sort of get the idea. By now, everybody is pretty aware of most of the COVID expectations. It's been consistently worldwide applied. So again, those are sort of our COVID resources. And like I said, a lot of this stuff will be similar to what you have just on the bare Fanshawe website. So if there are any questions that you have around COVID, around health and safety, around anything, you can come to our department. We do work for both the students and the staff. It's not just a staff function that we're worried about. And you can come to the Environmental Health and Safety Department, make some inquiries, and we can always put you into contact with the best person, or we can provide you answers as it is as well. So,
awesome.
Do you think I've missed anything there?
No, I think that's been a really great overview, Andrew. And it is a lot of information, but I think ultimately it's everyone's responsibility to do their part to keep everyone safe. So as long as everyone does their part, then we'll be able to kind of return to more normalcy as we move through into the post-pandemic life, right?
Yeah. And I will, just as a parting comment, say that COVID, if nothing else, has taught us that from one day to another, things can change on a dime. And we are waiting for a little bit more instruction. So although I've talked about, physical distancing and room occupancies, that could change in a week's time. So we may be able to take the 2-meter distancing away, or we may not. But those are just things that, as they become available, there'll be communications that are sent out to all staff and students that provide that understanding around if all of a sudden you see signs being removed or barriers being removed, then you'll understand why. And that's probably one area I didn't mention, is that any kind of student service where it's a customer to a student interaction. You will see barriers around the college as well, and it's simply because of COVID. So for the most part, we wouldn't normally operate like that, but they do serve a purpose right now. And between the face masks, the barriers, the distancing, it's our hope that everything will work out. And we will toot our horn a little bit to say that Fanshawe has not had a campus transferred COVID case at all since this started. So our precautions, our cleaning, everything has worked to our benefit. So you are in a safe place, and we'll help you in verifying that when you're on campus.
Awesome. So if anyone does have any questions for Andrew, you're welcome to throw them into the chat. Do we have someone who's unmuted? Oh. Remind everyone to make sure they're keeping their sound on mute there. Awesome.
Yeah, just trying to stop sharing here. I've got so much open here.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh, here it is.
So we did have a question here from Eugenia. And yes, after you finish your quarantine, you can certainly go to a clinic to get vaccinated. I will provide a link here for you now. Okay, so there we go. Just put this in the chat for everybody. There we go. So yeah, if you do need to book an appointment to get vaccinated, you can certainly go ahead and just visit COVID Vaccine LM, which is London Middlesex, which is our local health unit. So Avinash is asking, when do you do the screening? If you could just remind students, when do they complete the COVID screening?
Yeah, so the COVID screening should be done. It doesn't have to be done daily if you're not going on campus. So it should be done whenever you are going on campus prior to entry. So if you're just parking and prior to going into the door, you do your screening, that's fine. You can do your screening at home before you go into the college. As long as it's done before you actually enter Fanshawe, it's suitable. But again, if you're only having a course 2 days a week, then we would only expect that you're doing a screening 2 days a week.
Okay. Awesome. So any last questions for Andrew before we let him head on and enjoy his day? Last call. Awesome. We say thank you, Andrew. Everyone's very, very pleased with the information you provided. Thanks so much for joining us on short notice. We really do appreciate that.
Not a problem. Good luck to everybody. And like I said, if you do have any health and safety issues, feel free to reach out to us.
Okay, wonderful. And Andrew, do you want to put the contact information for your area just in the chat, maybe, just in case anyone had any follow-up questions?
I'm just trying to think of it. We don't have, actually, we do have one. Let me find the right address here. We don't use it much because we're used to dealing with internal people, but let me see.
Yeah.
This one may be a good one. We've got like 4 or 5 different addresses.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Hold on a second. And we do monitor these generally every day, but the response may take a little bit longer because of just the amount of information that we have. But
yeah. And of course, students should be aware if they do have any immediate concerns, you can always contact our campus security office and they can redirect you to the right place. And our campus security information, I'll just pull that up for you as well, because it certainly plays into the whole puzzle of keeping us all healthy and safe. All right, so there's a link to our campus security services. Oops, sorry, someone just direct messaged me. I'll send it out to the whole group there. There you go. So that website as well will give you all the information that Andrew provided around the Stay Safe app, which will be really important for all of you. And I just encourage you, even ahead of time, just download that app. Even if you're in your home country now, you can download that and just make sure you have a good sense of it. And that way, if you have any questions about it beforehand, you can contact our teams.
Okay. So I'm going to give you two, because in the worst case, I can just deflect. So this is my own personal email. If it comes there, I can deflect to whoever it would be. But the other one is EHSS. Yeah, you may get a bounce back, but we'll see here. I'm running with 3 screens, so my mouse is all over the place.
See, Andrew's working very hard to keep us all keeping us all safe and in check here. So definitely a big job, and their teams had a lot of work to do to constantly change and make sure they're following our protocols. So we definitely appreciate everything they've done.
Yep. So like I said, between those two, if you do have any questions, when it does come down to travel, because I know that you have been asking some questions about the travel and the quarantine and things like that. We do, like I said, follow the public health. So they would be the best person to talk to. But I also know our international team of people here are pretty adept to that information now. Brenda's set them out with the proper information. So between them and us, we can definitely help. So good luck with everything. Hope everything is well, and reach out if you need anything.
Okay. Thank you, Andrew.
Okay.
Bye now.
Have a great day. Bye.
And for everyone else who's still here, we can just hang out for another few minutes. We have about another 10 minutes. So I know there were some questions in the chat, and I'm certainly happy to answer those for you. So what I'll do again is just ask students, if you do have questions, just to quickly raise your hand, and we will take any questions you might have. So be brave, raise your hand, feel free to speak freely here. All friends here, so I'm sure whatever question you might have, someone else in the chat might have the same question. So what's the name of the app? Our campus community app is called the Stay Safe app. And actually, if you like, there's a little, I can share my screen for a second here. And there's a little video that goes over the app. So, can everyone see my screen? Oh, screen sharing is paused. Screen. Okay, can everyone see that? Yes, no, maybe. So here is a little bit of information about the Stay Safe app here. Okay, so that gives you a little bit of a rundown about what you can sort of expect to see when you download that app. So I will just head into the chat here. So again, Sumanpreet is asking about whether or not they can travel before, sorry about that, if they can travel before their online classes start? And the answer is yes. If you are a student who is registered in the fall term, you can travel at any point after August the 22nd. That's no problem at all. So Shihani is asking, my spouse will join me in late September. Do I need to request a travel authorization letter for him if he's traveling alone? So this is a really, really good question, because I'm sure a lot of you may have family members who may be interested in coming to Canada. Currently, their non-essential travelers are not allowed to come into the country. So you need to continue to monitor the Government of Canada website to see when your spouse may be able to join you. The travel authorization letter, we don't typically provide those. However, again, another person you can talk to if you have questions about your spouse coming with you, you can always speak to your agent if you have one, and if not, you can contact our Fanshawe Cares team. Dorothy's asking, how can you access your course schedule? So there's a couple of reasons why. So Dorothy, have you submitted your COVID-19 readiness form? That is something that will prevent your schedule from being released. So you're going to want to make sure that you do submit that COVID-19 readiness form to have your schedule be released. Harpreet's asking, when should blended students travel? Blended students are required to be on campus in time to start for the first day of classes. So if you are vaccinated student, you can arrive at any point up until September the 3rd. If you are not vaccinated, you need to arrive in Canada by August the 22nd. So I've been thinking about booking a one-day hotel in Toronto, because I'll arrive in Toronto at 11:25. So unfortunately, no, we wouldn't be able to pick you up from an alternate address. The only transportation that we offer is from the airport to London. So even if you're arriving at 11:25, we may be able to book later transportation for you. Just if you want, you can email Fanshawe Cares at fanshawec.ca, and we can provide a little bit more information for you. But we would not be able to pick up from an alternate location other than the airport, and we are not able to drop off at a location that is not in London. Dorothy is saying that she submitted on Friday. So again, with the COVID-19 readiness form, it does take a little bit of time for us to process that form. We suggest that you submit at least 5 days before you travel, ideally more than that. But it will take us a couple of days just to process that, because we work from business days. So we'll maybe another question about the Fanshawe Cares email. I'm just going to include that now. So again, I will say that we are receiving a very high volume of email at this point in time. So we are working at about a 48-hour response time. What I would recommend to you is, if you do send us an email, try not to email again. If you receive, we have an automatic reply that you'll receive when you email us. And we will get back to you within the 48 hours. But if you've received that automatic reply, then what that means is we've received your email. So just give us a little bit of time and we will get to you as quickly as possible. We'll just go to some questions here. So Avinash, you're welcome to unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hello. Hi, Laura.
Hi.
So I have something related question which I asked before. So since I'll be joining in mid-September or by the end of September, will I require the enrollment letter to show at the immigration at Toronto airport?
So what you'll be able to use to travel is your valid study permit and your letter of admission. So that's all you need. Yep, that's all you need.
All right. I was so worried because every now and then I see on YouTube that students have been deported because of this reason, that reason. They were short of documents. So
Yeah.
I would not have any problem, right?
So the other thing you can print out, which I know sometimes people have been asking for it, but it's not required, is your class schedule. So if you want, you can also print out your schedule, but to enter Canada, that's what you need, is your letter of admission and your valid study permit.
All right, great. Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
No problem. And Gode, you can go ahead with your question as well.
Okay, cool, Laura. Hi again.
Hi.
Yes, I'm just going to come back to the previous question. So you said if you're not vaccinated, you need to be there by August the 22nd, right?
That's right, yes.
Okay, cool. Let's say if you get the answer, let's say I get the answer from RSCC on the 25 or something. And is there any specification in terms of the vaccination? Like, is there a certain time that I need to be vaccinated? Because actually, according to that point of view, if I get the answer after the 22nd, I'll need to be vaccinated to come. But is there any limit in terms of time to get vaccinated?
Yeah, for sure. So a little bit about vaccines. So you need to have received one of the Canadian approved vaccines, which includes Pfizer, AstraZeneca, also called Covishield, Moderna, or Janssen, which is the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. You must have received 2 doses of the vaccine, and it must have been administered at least 14 days prior to your travel date. So that's kind of the guidelines around vaccines. Now, if you're in a situation where you're kind of very close, like if you're, say you in your situation, Gode, where you're saying you could potentially arrive on August 25th, what you can do is you can email and request special permission to arrive late. And that would be in cases where you would be entering the country or completing your quarantine within a reasonable amount of time of the start of class. So if you have concerns about that, I will just, so I'll just put a little note in the chat here, late arrival. Email Brianne Dos Santos. Fantasy.ca. Okay, so now I have put this in the chat, but what I would say, if you're not going to arrive within a reasonable amount of time, so for example, you are in a blended program and you think you'll be able to arrive in the 3rd week of September, you shouldn't even bother emailing Brianne because the answer will be no. It has to be within a reasonable amount of time within the first day of classes. Again, if you're in a blended program and you don't believe you'll be able to arrive with sufficient time to quarantine, or you won't be able to arrive in time for the start of classes, you really should contact your agent and see about possibilities for deferral.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Yes, and the other question.
Sure.
On web advice, I think the schedule came out already.
Yeah.
But I think it's not visible on my side. Is that because I didn't fill in the COVID readiness form yet?
That's right. And there have been a few other questions in the chat as well for a few people who are asking about not being able to see their schedules on WebAdvisor. And yeah, there are 2 things that you need to make sure that you've done in order for your schedule to be released. One is you must have your fees paid in full. And the second thing is you must submit your COVID-19 readiness form. Now, if you're a student who intends to come later on in September or maybe even October or November, what you can do is submit your COVID-19 readiness form saying that you are not coming to Canada. This will indicate to us that your plan is to start your program from your home country. And then once you do decide to come to Canada later on in the fall, you can resubmit that form, and we will begin to book transportation for you.
Okay, cool. Oh,
no
go ahead.
problem.
Sorry. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go
So
ahead.
I was just saying, so students are asking in the chat questions about how to book the shuttle service. When you submit your COVID-19 readiness form, some of the questions on there include your arrival time, your flight number, and we use this information to arrange transportation for you. So again, that would be from the airport to London. And yeah, so as long as you submit your COVID-19 readiness form, our team will begin booking transportation for you.
Okay, cool.
Okay, awesome. So with that, I know there are some questions in the chat that we haven't gotten to yet, and those are all certainly important questions. I'll just let you know that on Wednesday, I'll be leading the session then. So we'll be doing, we'll start our session with a little bit of information on how you can get involved at Fanshawe, and then we'll conclude with a nice Q&A. So if you do have any questions, you're welcome to get them ready for that Wednesday session. We'll also have another Q&A, Ask Me Anything session on Friday, and that'll be with myself and one of our student life coordinators. So definitely get your questions ready for those days. The final thing I'd like to say for today before we wrap up is we get a lot of questions about healthcare and health insurance. And tomorrow, we're very lucky to be joined by Kimberly from MoreCare. So international students receive their health insurance coverage from MoreCare. So if you have questions about your health insurance, tomorrow Kimberly will be joining us to answer any of those questions you might have. So with that, we will end our session for today. It was a fun one today, a little bit of a strange flow, but we got there. I just want to thank you all for sticking with us today, and I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Okay? Have a great day, everyone. Bye.